Welcome. I still cannot pronounce your name.
Gero.
It's okay. So welcome, Gero. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Gero Furchheim. I'm president of Ecommerce Europe. And we just had our board of directors meeting here in conjunction with the meeting of GR.EC.A. I'm also president of the German e-commerce association, but my main job is that I'm CEO of a small, medium-sized enterprise, Cairo, which is in design furniture retail.
Okay, I want to scrap all the questions and talk about the furniture. That's okay with you?
No, I won't. Would be a pleasure.
I won't do that. At least not at the beginning. So, what's the current mood for e-commerce and the market?
Yeah, we have just listened to a study from France, which is also looking to some other European markets, speaking about the morale of the leaders in the e-commerce. So they spoke to the Netherlands, to Germany, to Spain and Italy. And so we have their really up-to-date figures. And the good news is that 47% of the leaders of e-commerce companies outside France look positively at the year 2026 compared to 2025. So
Okay.
there is a positive mood. There's a wide spread. So the German market, which is suffering right now from the general consumption, has a much lower optimism. So we are just at 27%. Other markets, for instance, the Netherlands, are going up to even more than 70%. Spain is at 71% of a positive mood. But on the other side, there are also concerns, which are clearly in the, for instance, the race of Asian marketplaces not respecting the rules in Europe is seen as a threat by 77% of the leaders in e-commerce. So it is increasing in 2026 compared to the last year. And also a bit more than half of the people, 53% of the people we asked, they say that there is a risk that more e-commerce companies will go out of business. So there's overall optimism. It's a growing optimism compared to last year with a lot of differentiation and but with a clear view also on the problems within the market. And my personal impression from what I had heard from representatives of the Greek market is that I would say at least on the average you hear, I think, even a bit more of optimism in Greece than what I've experienced so far.
I don't know if you have this the data, but do you think is there a difference between about the feeling between consumers and business owners regarding e-commerce?
It is very specifically a question we asked to business operators,
Okay.
but we see that, for instance, the number of e-commerce customers is very high. It is close to 80%, and Greece is right in this average of European companies. Although there's a bit of a spread. So there are some countries like the Netherlands and also some Nordic countries which have an even higher percentage of e-commerce shoppers compared to the overall population. But I think this is the answer. E-commerce is part of everyday life. People are satisfied, and so the morale to use our offers is very high.
I think I can speak for Greece, of course. I know that may be the story for a lot of other countries, but I think that what happened in Greece was that during COVID there was a spike in e-commerce, usage, and I don't know if it was a spike in trust, which I would like to talk to a little bit later, but. Obviously, we're not now in the stage of growth. I think that we're in the stage of, as you mentioned, at least in Greece, we're in the stage where people are so used to e-commerce, okay, that this is the main way that they actually buy and consume products. Yeah. So we've moved from the growth to the next phase, which for us at least is something that we see that has to do with trust, with loyalty, with customer engagement, with consumer behavior, and and how businesses can provide consumers long-term value in the relationship, of course. What do you think? Do you think that this is a maturity phase? Do you think that we have more steps to take before we are in the maturity phase for Greece?
Well, let me speak about a couple of things you've mentioned. But first of all, it is right that the Corona period just brought a boost of our business. But in the years afterwards, we have seen different development. And there, I want to praise the development in the Greek market, because in the years after the pandemic, you had better growth than the overall European market. And compared specifically to Germany, where there was a big decline also, you remained much more stable, and you are overall in Greece among the average of the growth, which is about 7% in this year. So there is a positive development. We have made a study, including last year. The new study is still to come out. We think that with the crisis which have appeared, like Strait of Hormuz being closed, these questions which we discuss right now, that there will be also some difficulties which have their effect, but the overall development is positive. I like your view that as a sign of maturity, we have growth not being the primary, the priority, and more loyalty and trustworthiness. But there's one element missing in your question, because the part which is growing fastest in Europe are players which do not really work on trust and longevity. It is the Asian platforms who really make an advantage of not respecting the rules right now. So there's the biggest momentum in the market. The other European players, I think there you are absolutely correct, that they take the loyalty and the trustworthiness as their priority right now. That was also part of the study which was performed by our French partners, Fevat, that they said that there's a lot of investment in technology, using AI also to make trustworthy and good offers. And also from my own business perspective, so as CEO of Cairo, of a small medium-sized enterprise, I can just say that exactly keeping up the level of satisfaction and offering good service, that's really our biggest priority right now. And at the end, it's also then giving inspiration to the customers, just telling them about great products, having great offers to do. That's at the end what counts really to make a good positive result in a year.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, as you were speaking, I was thinking that I don't know whether there's a way out of constantly having to compete with markets that they have an entirely different culture than ours. I mean, we've been talking about China, we've been talking about the US. They have different culture. They don't regulate AI, they don't regulate technology as much as we do. So, I don't know, are you optimistic about actually being able to compete with those players?
I think the idea of the European common market is really a great idea, that we create one big market which is really relevant on a worldwide scale with the same rules. The idea is great. It is not yet there at showing its full potential. So we have the one issue which we discussed already a lot, that there are players from outside who do not respect the rules, so there has to be more enforcement. But we also have to see that there's a lot of fragmentation within the European market still. So take topics like the enlarged producers' responsibility. So there's a lot of work to be done to be compliant. It differs from one country to the other. So still, I think the competition, if it is on a level playing field, is beneficial for all of us. We as merchants have potential in other countries, and the consumers can benefit from a broader choice. But that's the prerequisite. It has to be on the same level playing field with the same rules. And there is homework to be done. European Commission has understood our message, is acting against those who are not respecting the rules. Not always in the speed we would like them to do, not with the strength we want them to do, but we are heard on this level with our campaign.
What do you think that smaller markets like Greece can learn from more mature markets like Germany, of course?
Yeah. Well, honestly, I think if we speak about the consumption climate in Germany, we should be a bit more humble, and maybe we have to learn something from Greece as Germans, because you have gone through a difficult phase of doing reforms, and now you harvest because your economy is going better. And right now, I said that the mood in Germany is really bad at the moment. It's just because business people understand that there's a need for reforms, and we are not acting. So sometimes also the big nations have to be humble and have to look at smaller countries to see that it is good to go this way, which was really difficult. And there was a lot of controversy also about this. What's still from a mature market? I think what you can always learn is that everything which is enabling trust and is giving a good experience is beneficial to the market. So take it again, the example of my own company. We have a service in Germany, which is also a big country, that if you place an order by 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon, you have next day delivery of furniture, even with two-man logistics. So a great offer, which just makes a difference. that's something which is good. So reliability, that you have, for instance, a lot of our consumers pay by open invoice, so they have a lot of trust because they only pay the money if the product is good. So all these elements which are giving satisfaction and reliability, they are good. But again, something which is maybe a positive opportunity of a smaller market, Germans and other major markets tend to see their home market as the main interest. They stay there. They think we want to be great in Germany and eventually go to Austria as they happen to speak the same language. I think from a smaller market like Greece, good ideas always have to have in view that you have to go cross-border, that you have to use potentials from other markets. This is a challenge. It's also an opportunity you can take from a smaller market.
Do you think that's those things are the advantages of a smaller market in general? Let's just not talk about Greece. I mean, can we be more flexible than bigger markets? Can we be more agile? Do you think that's possible, or that doesn't have to do with the size, but with, you know, the government and the organization, stuff like that?
I think that the smaller market has a potential that great ideas can be tested with a direct contact to the consumers much faster. But we've seen something which is also the case in other countries, that small markets sometimes also put extra burdens. So it was just for me crazy that you have to learn that you have a 2% tax on online advertisement. And I thought it is about financing pensions for journalists. It was crazy. I had to ask 2 times to understand that this is really the case. And not only just regulating something within the Greek market, but also imposing this tax for activities in other markets.
We have a lot of taxes that don't make sense, by the way.
Yeah.
That's not the only one.
So the opportunities are there, but the risks are there, and you have to balance, and that's why we have to have strong associations representing the interests of our industry to work on the potentials and not to have these harmful measures, like also gold plating, making rules even more stricter than they were developed and thought on the European level. There you have also some experience in the Greek market. We do have the same experience in other markets also, and we need a level playing field, and we need to work on the potentials of the market.
Okay, and last but not least, what would be your message to the Greek owners and Greek businesses about the future, about what they have to do right now, but also whether they can be optimistic or cautious or...
Yeah, I think that I would have 3 messages. The first message is really get active in strong associations like GR.EC.A, because it's networking, but it's also the voice which is necessary on a European level to make politicians understand what we as markets need. So use the association, make them strong. The second thing is just be confident, because there's always room for great new ideas. There's always, just take the whole world of artificial intelligence, which enables us to learn more about consumers, collect data, invest in excellence, understand the market desires, and use the specific perspective of what you have here locally. And at the end, we are all in markets, and the end is we never get a solution from somebody outside. We have to fight as entrepreneurs. So we have to inspire, we have to have the right products. And I think you still wanted to ask some questions about design furniture. Let us speak about this, because
I want to ask you so much about furniture. For example, I think that furniture is part, our home is one of the most important things in aspects in our lives, okay? Because we live there, we feel safe there, we have connections there.
Yeah.
And that's this specific industry fascinates me personally, because I think it's part of our identity.
Yeah.
And I would always want to ask someone that is in this business, in this industry, what fascinates them. Yeah. What's your priority? How can you connect? How do you connect with your customers?
And I think that's to put this also on a more general basis that others can learn from this. Ideas which we have, and this is something that is general for everybody who's in the business. Individualization is important. So we have new services that customers can not only select from what we have at the shelf, but just get made to order different versions, just having the color of the furniture you want to have. Individualization is a big topic. Private labels is a big topic. So have your own brands, because that's something where you can be unique and where you have full control as a merchant of what you're doing. So develop your own product, find intelligent ways to produce them to meet customer demand. and as I said again, have a universe of entire satisfaction, of good service, of availability. And now that in a moment where everybody invests into artificial intelligence, we are all experimenting, but then having also humans who are skilled, who are trained to take the phone and to give recommendations. So there are also opportunities with things which are the tradition, if you use the right potentials also with the new technologies which are on the table.
Well, regarding AI, of course, there's also the issue of creativity. Okay, I work in an advertising agency, and this is one of my biggest concerns about regarding AI. And it's okay to use AI and tools. Obviously, they are helpful for everybody, but for me, there is I don't know. There's a question of whether you would prefer to design furniture with AI or with a human, hand. I mean, don't you skip something of the creativity and the creative process when you use AI?
I think the right interaction between creativity, human creativity, and support by AI, that's really what is the solution. I've seen several solutions where just a creative idea from a scratch, that the AI helps you to make a full plan out of a full design of the product. So use the technology to make it more efficient how humans have their creative ideas. That's for me the way. And that's, for instance, what we do also at Cairo. We have a lot of good photos, but we just added, for instance, some photos in a specific view that we say we know how the customers would like it to have it presented. There are also great designs which are done with the help of AI, like chairs from Castle, where famous designers used artificial intelligence to bring together these two worlds. And we are just at the start of these technologies. And I think we as an industry have always shown that we embrace new technology, that we try to take the best out of it. And that's what we now want to do also with artificial intelligence. Mm-hmm.
I could talk forever about this, so I'm not going to do it. I have a question that I'm going to ask once we stop rolling. Thank you so much for your time and the insights. And I hope we talk again soon.
Thanks a lot.